What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have a collection update for you. I believe this is number 69, and I giggled a little bit. So, once again, I hit up another distro. This time it was Desert Wastelands Productions, and kind of scouted around in terms of like some cool underground stuff and found some really wild stuff again, and also picked up a bunch of used stuff, some new releases, and a really cool surprise at the end too. And if you can hear in the background, we are playing Left Hand Path. Rest in peace, LG Petrov, one of my favorite frontmen in death metal in general. Definitely been bummed out about that, and well, you know, to his family, my condolences, and to the fans around the world, if you're feeling like me, man, I get it, dude. This sucks. Cancer fucking sucks. So, with that note, let's get on with this. Rest in peace, LG. Intellect, Devourer, Demons of the Skull. This is their 2020 debut album, though this band formed all the way back in 1992, I believe. They had a couple of demos in 94 and 2000, and then finally got around to recording this. These guys are from Australia, and I can kind of see why it took time to come out with this, because these guys are in a lot of different bands. This features members of Cauldron Black Ram, Mournful Congregation, Truth Corroded, Stargazer, and Denouncement Pyre. And all those bands are kind of, you know, across a wide swath of different styles of metal. This is kind of old school technical death metal, like pretty much like, you know, Gorguts, Erosion of Sanity, or like Death, Individual Thought Patterns, Human, that sort of era. Except this is very raw and gritty sounding, and I really love it. The bass work is absolutely killer. The title track is just a storm of riffs. Lots of thrashy influence. I think the production really favors kind of like a 90s style, and this was a really solid gem. Like, I kind of just picked this one up on a whim. Maybe I jammed a little bit of it, can't really remember. But I know I absolutely love it, and it's cool finally seeing this band put out a full length. I didn't know they existed up until this point, but this is really killer stuff. And if you love old school sort of technical death metal, like fiercely 90s sounding, a lot of Suffocation vibes too, definitely check this out. Intolerance, Laments from the Dripstone Cave. This is their original EP, came out in 2020. This is the re-release on Life After Death Records. This is a Spanish death metal band, and man, these guys are swampy and murky as hell. Like, this is very punky, very like Autopsy, but at the same time, the tone, if it wasn't as money, a little bit crisper, it would remind me a lot of Entombed. The belches on here, and I don't know if I'd call them growls, they're almost more belches, are just deep, ugly gurgles, and it really kind of just lends itself to this swampy atmosphere, which there is a ton of groove in this nasty, murky swamp that apparently this band lives in. Now, I should probably also say that these first 5 albums are from Desert Wastelands. I probably should have said that earlier, but this is where that came from, and this is really solid. I believe a friend of mine, Metal Viking 82, I think I got it right. He also got this one too, and the way he described it sounded like something I would really like. So yeah, thank you for the recommendation, man. But yeah, if you're looking for something swampy and disgusting and fiercely old school, definitely check this out. Molder, Vanishing Cadavers. This is their 2020 debut. They're from Illinois, and this is kind of groovy old school death metal, but a little bit on the thrash side. And I definitely want to bring this up that I bought 2 copies, and they're both different. Now, this is the one that seems to register on Discogs, because this came out on Go Throne Records, and that's the only CD version that they had on there. This one is on Cianeto Records. It says it is licensed by Molder. I don't know if this is a bootleg or just an edition they haven't added on there, but I did want to bring that up, and that's the reason why I bought 2 copies, because this one is at least official. Either way, this is incredibly fun. The vocals are over the top, very John Tardy-esque in terms of like everything that the dude says kind of ends in that yeah, like the over the top John Tardy growl, which I absolutely love. The music is very groovy, loads of D beats, but there are lots of thrashy riffs on here, killer leads, and the entire time I was jamming this, I was pretty much smiling, but I was also thinking, man, this is the kind of band I want to see live, because this just sounds like it's just going to get the pit spinning left and right. I loved every track on here. There's fierce nods to Entombed, Obituary, even Asphyx, which they do cover Serenade and Lead on here. Might as well, because they do have an Asphyx vibe, maybe minus the Death Doom moments, so it's more of the thrashier up-tempo spots. Love this release. This is absolutely killer. It's just pure fun to listen to. If you love HM2 metal in general, check this band out, because this is absolutely awesome. Sepsis, Interdimensional Decay. This band is from California. This is their 2020 debut, and this is actually on Desert Wasteland Productions. This is murky, old school death metal, very thrashy, though I have to say, I think it's more of a demo, and they branded it as their debut release, because if I'm being honest, it sounds like every track was recorded separately and differently, like the settings were different. So in terms of a mix, it's kind of hard to tell. It goes by track in terms of, like, it sounds completely different from one track to the next in terms of the overall sound of the mix. Like, sometimes the bass is way in the back, sometimes it's way out in front. The vocals are almost always really out in front, but the guitars seem to vary in terms of, like, the tone. Sometimes they're a little bit more murky, sometimes they're a little bit more, you know, crispy and kind of crackly. It literally does sound like every track was recorded separately. Now, as far as the style in here, it is fiercely old school 90s death metal. I would definitely say, once again, lots of Autopsy vibes on here as well. Loads of solid riffs. I mean, it's pretty just straightforward old school death metal, and it is kind of hampered by this mix. I would like to hear something at least like universal across the board, or just, you know, have this like properly remixed and put out again, because it kind of takes away from the experience, because I did really like the songs on here. It's just the mix was kind of annoying just because it wasn't uniform. Either way though, still recommend you check it out. I might just be in a picky shit about this, but still, check it out. Solid old school death metal. If you love that, you'll probably like this. Unnatural, The Afflicted Path to Cursed Putrefaction. This is a comp of demos and material from splits from this band. Now, this band is a two-man band. They're from Illinois. The main songwriter and the guy that plays all the instruments, Ted Vantelberg, is from the band Morgue, and the frontman is Ken from Ken's Death Metal Crypt. And if you're not familiar with that, he's an awesome YouTuber that puts out a ton of like underground death metal stuff, and I just recently discovered him. I also have picked up stuff that he has reissued, I guess, on a label called Ken's Death Metal Crypt. He actually reissued a lot of Unconsecrated's material, which I really dug that. I think I covered it in a collection update a while ago. This is some murky, foul, old school death metal. I think the production is kind of hit or miss. Now, granted, it is a compilation, so, you know, you get whatever mix they had for that song. But overall, the music is really solid, and Ken's vocals are really good. He kind of reminds me of Corpse Grinder, except with like a slower, more deliberate delivery. He doesn't like do the rapid fire cadences that Corpse Grinder does. And musically, again, very similar to Autopsy, but also a bit of Cyanide in terms of like that Death Doom vibe. And the guitar tone is just pure filth. I love it. It's great. This was a solid find, and this pretty much rounds out what I got from Desert Wasteland Productions. Strongly recommend you check out the site. They have a lot of cool underground stuff. There's like t-shirts and a bunch of other stuff. I'll leave a link down below, along with links to all the music, of course. But yeah, pretty solid stuff. And I'm going to start looking for more of this, because really good. Dug it. Check it out. Affliction Gate, Shattered Anti-Mortem Illusions. This is this band's second EP. They are from France, and this is some really solid death metal. Filthy Death Doom start to this. Right away, that just lashed onto me. And then it pretty much just goes into like more like incantation-y sort of death metal. Vocals are very reminiscent of Steve Tucker. Like, it just has this really pronounced roar. And I really like the fact that they squeezed in some mellow death moments in here. Like, there's some real solid, like, kind of like early Hypocrisy type hooks on here. The production is thick, heavy, chunky as hell. The only thing I didn't like on this is the fact that the last track is essentially like just this short outro. Would have liked to hear another full track, because all the tracks on here up to that point were absolutely killer. But yeah, I kind of just picked this up on a whim. It was on the used CD section at the record store that I frequent, and did a little looking around. I was like, oh, well, all right. Sounds like cool death metal, reasonably priced, and it's awesome. And I definitely want to find more by this band. So yeah, if you like incantation, like death metal and a bit of death doom and all the other stuff I said, definitely check this out because this is really solid. All right, the next three are from the same band because I just bought it in a batch, all at the same store, same place I bought Affliction Gate, and I was instantly enthralled by the name alone. So we're going to start off with the first one that they have, and we're talking about Oozing Wound with Retrash. Now, this is essentially crossover thrash, at least it was kind of billed as that, but this is some of the murkiest, filthiest crossover thrash I have heard. Just outright punky and gritty, like pretty much like a High on Fire and Converge, but then mix that with like maybe DRI, maybe Sacred Reich. I don't know. It works though. This is their debut album, so I kind of got them right here at the start. They're from Chicago, and I love pretty much everything about this. I'm already gushing about it. The last track on here, Spirit Manimal, I believe that was the last track. I'm kind of looking at it and I can't see the track names, but whatever. Just an absolute foot on the gas riff storm. Oh my god. There is a ridiculous bass intro on the song Call Your Guy, which some of these song titles are absolutely ridiculous, and that also intrigued me. But yeah, this is an absolutely killer debut, and yeah, you won me with the name alone. It made me at least curious. So yeah, Oozing Wound. Check this one out for sure. Now this is their second album, Earthsuck, and came out in 2014, and this one I think got a little bit sludgier. There's a little bit more of that High on Fire sound. I want to say the song Hippie Speedball, which again these tracks aren't listed on the back, has almost a more drony sound. This comes out on Thrill Jockey Records, by the way. I forgot to say that earlier. There's a little bit more like venturing out on this one. There's some like black and thrash moments. Again, like a little bit of drone. Still, solid follow-up. I really dug this one as well. And again, we're just gonna keep rolling with more Oozing Wound here with their fourth album, High Anxiety. Now, first off, I love this album cover. It's kind of ridiculous. I have no idea what the hell is going on here. I think there's some Ninja Turtles, or I don't know. I have no idea. Man, they're in purple sewage stuff. There's a corpse and one eye, and he's smiling. Who knows? This one I didn't like as much, but it's still really good. I think they kind of just went a little bit more off the rails. It sounds more crazy and frantic. It kind of reminded me more of, again, like Converge rather than thrash. There's still a lot of thrash elements, but I think this one is more about just being absolutely nuts. I mean, if you have a cover like this, you might as well be nuts. But I mean, the song titles are just great. The opening track, Surrounded by Fucking Idiots. I hear ya. Tween Shitbag. I've met him. Birth of a Flat Earther. I'm against it. One thing I will say about this band altogether in terms of all three of these releases is the last track is almost always the biggest, nastiest banger on here. This one is Vein Ripper and practically did rip the veins out of my body. It was that heavy. Awesome band. I'm definitely looking for whatever I'm missing. I think there's maybe 2 other albums. If you like your crossover, insane sounding and maybe just murkier than hell, check this band out because this is just awesome. This was one of my favorite little finds over this course of shopping. Good stuff. All right, we have Sacred Reich's Ignorance and Surf Nicaragua. I had to buy the reissues just because I love these albums. I even have the originals on CD. I don't care. I wanted them again. I love these 2 releases in particular. Now, they did re-release Freedom as well. I just haven't got it yet. I'm kind of iffy on that one. It's not my favorite, but this right here is a crossover classic. It is essential listening. If you have not listened to this and you're a big crossover fan, you are missing, I would say, one of the most important ones. Flat out bangers on this. The whole album is amazing. Surf Nicaragua is, again, a shorter offering. The title track and Drain You of Life are 2 of my particular favorites. The whole surf break in Surf Nicaragua is absolutely awesome. It just shifts from like a groovy breakdown to Wipeout. Why not? Pure fun. Really don't need to say much about these because these are relatively well known, but definitely check these out. Go find these reissues. And if you liked Freedom, go get that one too. I may or may not still pick that one up. But these two were essential, and definitely get them, because this is thrash gold, at least in my opinion. Check them out. Sunlight's Bane. And I have to read this out because it's really long. The Blackest Volume, Like All the Earth Was Buried. This is the 2017 debut from this Michigan death grind act. Fierce vibes of like Terrorizer, but kind of rotten sound in terms of like the production in here. Loads of hardcore notes. The frontman is also the frontman of And Hell Followed With, which is a deathcore act from 2000s, I believe. I really don't remember. It might have been 2010s. I picked up their album. I just, really didn't listen to it much because at that point I was kind of getting out of deathcore. This is not deathcore. This is just vicious death grind, loads of atmosphere. Kind of reminds me of Nails, except longer songs. There are some songs that kind of take a little too long to get going for, a death grind band. Dance of Wolves just starts off as like isolated screams and a guitar riff and then kind of nothing else, and builds into the song, but by the time you get to the rest of the band jumping in, there's not much song left. Kind of an issue there. But they balance out the death and grind aspects really well. There's some really solid death metal sections. The drum work is frantic as hell. So this was pretty solid. Now there was kind of an issue here. This would not rip to my computer. It kept saying that this was a blank CD, and I know it's not. So I don't know if I need to get a new reader or whatnot. That thing served me pretty well for a while though. But yeah, pretty solid release. I definitely want to check out more by the band. Hopefully there are other CDs read in my computer. But yeah, good stuff. Just nasty death grind, and if you love that sort of thing, check it out. Terminal Bliss, Brute Air Ata. Not entirely sure what all that means. This is their 2021 debut. This is a punk hardcore project featuring members of Page 99, Pygmy Lush, Iron Reagan, and Mammoth Grinder. These guys are all based out of Virginia, and this is absolutely batshit crazy hardcore. This is almost like the power violence approach to hardcore. It's squealing, loaded with feedback. The songs are short. They are vicious, shrieked in your face. The drum work is just absolutely nuts. It's Ryan Parrish from Iron Reagan. That dude can drum. There is not a single track on here that even goes to 2 minutes. Like, they are that short condensed. I think this entire album was maybe like 23 minutes long. And I really couldn't picture it being much longer because I think hopefully they got everything out that they wanted to get out, because this kind of sounds like catharsis through heavy, violent music. This isn't metal heavy, this is punk heavy, which is very different. This is pretty much all the punk rage, but none of the real metal moments on here. So I'd say this is definitely more on the punk side of things for sure. Either way though, if you like your punk extraordinarily violent and short, definitely check this out. Vomit Stain, Piles of Human Debris. This is their 2019 debut album. They are from Virginia, and this is brutal death metal with a lot of thrash nods. It was kind of an interesting listen because there are tons of thrashy riffs, but I would say like this band sounds a lot like Broken Hope and like early Deeds of Flesh. Now looking this up, it's kind of interesting that this copy has 2 bonus tracks, though the other copies that I've seen don't have those. So I don't know if this is a copy that just isn't listed yet or whatever. I don't know. Overall, I'd say this is definitely more straightforward brutal death. There are some slamish moments, but thankfully, at least for me, that isn't the focus. It is more about delivering riffs, pummeling blast beats. Production's a little, raw. I don't really like the sound of the drums in some spots. It doesn't have the slam snare, but I don't know. It's kind of gritty, but not in the way that I usually like. But overall, I like the songs. The thrashy breaks have killer hooks. Embryonic Sewage Reconfiguration. That has some awesome thrash parts, and that is just a ridiculous song name. But I mean, you have other ones like Butcher the Malformed to Feed the Abomination. It's a lot of steps. You got to take care of your abominations. Overall, though, pretty solid release. Again, I like the inclusion of the thrash elements that kind of really latched onto me, and this is pretty solid, so definitely check this out. Alright, we got a pair from Obsessed. I have been meaning to get some Obsessed. I am sorely missing a lot of Obsessed in my collection, so I saw these and was like, well, yeah, it's time. So this is the 2017 reissue of their 1990 debut, And it sounds a lot like Sabbath. A little bit like ZZ Top too, which is interesting. Like there's a lot of blues rock on here. I would say it even has notes of like 90s rock, which, I mean, it came out in 1990. I guess it should. I like the mix between like the more doomy songs, and then you still get like, you know, the big trippy desert rock vibes. And I mean, if you have Wino playing guitar in here, it's gonna get trippy. That dude knows how to write some killer trippy solos. Pretty solid offering. I really like this album. I had not actually jammed this. The only one I had actually jammed, I believe, was The Church Within, though I don't own a copy, but that was when I was a teenager, and I probably didn't like it then because I was just into like death metal and thrash metal, which not too much has changed. But I like more stuff now. Now this is their 2017 album, Sacred, and this is heavier than hell, fiercely chunky. It feels more doom-laden. I think that might have to do more with the production. The production is very thick. I love the guitar tone. The bass is very prominent. The drums sound great on here. Solid mix. Like, they really captured that flat-out doom sound. I have to say, though, I like how Wino sounds now. Like, his more gruff vocals now work better with the sound overall, I think. He doesn't sound as clean. Some Motorhead-ish moments on here, too, to pick up the tempo. There's even some Hammond organ. Really solid stuff. I believe Miller actually got this in a vinyl pack, and I was like, man, I probably should have picked that up a while ago because I heard a lot of good things, and it's really good. So I need to get more, of course. There's still some other albums out there that I want to get, and this band has had a rocky history of breaking up and reforming and breaking up, reforming, but it's kind of the thing. And I mean, you know, Wino's in like 20 different bands, I think right now maybe, I don't know. But I'm definitely going to get more obsessed because these were both great, and I imagine the other ones are too, because most of the things that Wino's in are really damn good. So anyway, if you haven't checked these out, check them out. Perdition Temple, Edict of the Antichrist Elect. This is their debut album from 2010, and this is absolutely sick black and death metal. I brought them up before in the last one because I got them in a Hell's Headbangers pack, and man, I have been missing out. What was really cool was Gene Palulicki, I probably butchering your last name, he actually commented on the video when I actually went over this and thanked me for covering it. So yeah, Gene, I'm back with more of your stuff, and my God, your riffs are insane. I love them. This is, once again, I think I described it as Morbid Angel with more Satan. Well, that's still accurate. Now, this one, it was actually Gene doing guitar and bass, and he had Warhead from War Grinder doing drums on here, which the drums on here are sick. In fact, the drum intro on Plague Camp is absolutely nuts. This is just fierce, nasty, kind of thrashy black and death metal. Again, a lot of like remnants of that whole Angel Corpse sound. Again, I missed that band, but I will gladly take Perdition Temple as a replacement because this is just nasty. I absolutely love this. I love the other one too. I'm not sure which one I like more because they're both really good. And there's still some ones I'm missing, which, believe me, I'm looking for. So yeah, if you like black and death metal, there's a good chance you probably already own some stuff by this band, but if not, oh my God, get it, because it's good. Check it out. Goreworm, The Path to Oblivion EP. This came out in 2020. This is the debut EP from this Ontario tech death band. This is one of the ones I got in the Metalhead box, and this is straight up tech death. Kind of a nice, like, almost doom-laden intro in terms of the track, so it kind of gives you nice big riffs before launching into more overtly technical stuff. And that's kind of a thing I like in here. This is tech death that does not forget the power of the riff. Riffs kind of, you know, bring me in a bit more. Now, the technical flourishes are really good. The production, there's some issues. I was not sure if this was programmed drums or not. The drums sound very clean, again, very triggered, but that's very common in tech death. And the vocals are very dry. They're not bad. I don't think the delivery's bad. It's just they could have used maybe like a little bit of reverb on them just to kind of fill out the sound. But overall, music's pretty solid. I'm not the biggest tech death fan, but these guys do it well. And again, they balance it out with good riffs and good hooks before, you know, flying into like more technical stuff, which it's not so technical. You're like, well, Jesus, that's just a nuts, insane collection of notes there. They're actually really good and have some solid, like almost mellow death sort of melodies to them. So yeah, pretty solid stuff. And if you haven't heard of these guys, definitely check them out. Profane Order, Slave Mortality. This is the 2019 debut from this Quebec blackened death metal band. I guess you could say that. I think that's what they describe them as. Sometimes it's almost like war metal, which I'm not really into, but my god, this is insanely heavy. Don't really like the intro. The intro is obnoxiously loud, like big droning synths and screams in the background, but when you get down the music, it is just a wall of just profound hatred for things. It is just nasty. Very similar to Incantation or Of Feather and Bone. I have to say though, the mix is kind of an issue because I think the drums kind of disappear, or at least the snare disappears in Blast, which I'm kind of finicky about, but oh my god, the riffs on here, the atmosphere is just absolutely hostile. The vocals are drenched in reverb and like howled and bellowed and growled. Very dramatic. I really dug that. Now, the guitarist and vocalist of this band is also in the black metal band Spectral Wound, which I believe is all him. And, I mean, it definitely shows. The blackened atmosphere on here is just absolutely oppressive as hell. But this is still very much in the realm of death metal, too. So this is a really good balance in terms of, like, blackened death metal. Like, it definitely pulls a lot from both camps. Solid debut. I definitely want to check out more about this band. I would like to hear them, like, try mixing it a little bit differently. But overall, I was very satisfied with the giant satanic pummeling that this gave me. So yeah, definitely check it out. Alright, gonna get down to some reissues here on the end here with Black Sabbath, Mob Rules. I saw this, I had to get it. This is my favorite Dio era Sabbath album. Sign of the Southern Cross. That might be one of my favorite like Dio fronted songs ever. My god, it's gorgeous. Voodoo. Absolutely amazing. I mean, we ranked this one, and this one actually climbed a little bit. It's over some of the Ozzy stuff, too. This has some killer live performances on here, too. And I gotta say, it is still weird hearing Dio sing the Ozzy material, but he's still doing a really good job. He's just doing the Dio thing versus, you know, sound like Ozzy. Like, there are two vastly different vocalists, and they're both incredible. But yeah, I saw this, I had to get it, just because this is such a killer album, and I already have a really killer reissue of Heaven and Hell. So yeah, had to get it. If you've never heard this, why? Listen to it, it's really good. And then finally, I caved in, I got the deluxe, or super deluxe rather, edition of Paranoid, because it's Paranoid. That's pretty much all the explanation I need, and I am going to open this up and let you check out the contents therein. So yeah, there's the little thing on the back, but whatever. We don't need that. We have this awesome booklet, or rather book. I mean, it's bound really well, and I mean, I still haven't read the one from Volume 4, but I mean, tons of cool stuff in here. And then we have this kind of like picture flip book, which, I mean, that's the picture we used for the ranking, and I was like, oh, I love that. And then, like, little other photos in here, just kind of a cool little booklet. And, of course, we have this really awesome poster, which I'm going to be very, very, very careful. I would never want to damage this. I don't know if I'm gonna put it up because I kind of want to keep the collection together, but oh my god, that's awesome. Try to straighten it out a little bit more, but I don't want to hurt it. But yeah, that's amazing. I might just be easily impressed, but no, I think it is amazing. And then as for the deluxe stuff, of course, we have remastered Paranoid, brilliant album. Don't think I need to tell anyone that. And then we have an edition in quad stereo, which eventually I'm just going to have to sit down and jam because I don't think I have anything in quad stereo. But I imagine it sounds absolutely amazing. And then we have Paranoid Black Sabbath in Montreux, not sure how you pronounce that, in 1970. And I've jammed a little bit of it. And once again, even the CDs come in these, you know, little vinyl sleeves, which is a nice touch. Give the CD collectors the vinyl experience at least a little bit. But yeah, killer stuff. Opens right away with Paranoid. Very heavy too. Like, it sounds nice and chunky on here. Oh, to be alive in 1970 to see this, that would have been something special. And then we have live in Brussels as well. And once again, this one also sounds very heavy too. Love how good these live recordings sound, especially. This is an absolutely awesome collection. I don't know if they have one planned for Master of Reality, but I would definitely buy it because that's my favorite Black Sabbath album. But yeah, these things are really cool. I absolutely love all this extra stuff, and I mean, this is pretty much the treatment that this album deserves, much like Volume 4, because it's just a flat-out classic. And I'm super glad I got it, and I really, really hope they decide to do like the other classic Sabbath albums like this, because they deserve the treatment. Alright, this knocks out this collection update. Already have stuff from another distro waiting for me to sit back and listen to, and I have another one that's on the way eventually. So yeah, plenty more to come, and you know, we got that Dark Throne ranking out. Super happy with that one. We can finally get down to doing a poll too. And yeah, once again, plenty of stuff coming. So we're gonna keep you as entertained as possible. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We will catch you later.